Healthcare in the bush? Mate, if doctors never learned to fly, we'd be up a dry shit's creek. Mate, the biggest killer in the bush, behind horse falls and the occasional motorbike flip, is healthcare in the bush. Even in this day and age of accessibility and technological advancement, the Royal Flying Doctor Service is still the most crucial way to keep a countryman alive. Now, they pay big money to put doctors and matrons in rural placement. But some of these hospitals and clinics in these little bush towns, they're about as useful as tits on a bull. See, it's like anything. When a vet starts out young and bushy-tailed, they want to try and save every dog, every magpie, every goldfish, no matter how far gone they might be. But when they get a little bit older and jaded, they go straight to the, he's fucked. Want me to put him down? Mate, I just brought him in to get his nails clipped. Same as mechanics. After a few filter changes, mate, it's not long before they're sending you home with a roll of spanners still under the bonnet. See, the passion goes out the window very bloody quickly. Point is, a rural placement for a doctor, nurse, matron, whatever, should be reserved for someone on the younger side of life, you know? Someone experienced enough on the tools that they know what they're doing, but also young enough to gain some life experience and have an adventure when they get put out in the middle of bumfuck. You need someone who can connect and sink their teeth into a little community, you know? Someone who can have that relationship with everyone and be happy to do it. I mean, for most people getting into medicine, there'd be no better experience, right? They get an adventure, and old Mavis in town feels like someone cares for once. But nah, they send out some miserable old dragon who gets a big pay packet but hates every moment of being there. So when old Mavis goes down feeling a bit unwell, they send her home saying, it's all in your head, love. Go home and stop being so silly. It's not agony, it's anxiety. All I'm saying is when you're out here, mate, don't try dying on the weekend. They're closed. Oh, Christ! Chest pain. Oh, shortness of breath. Shooting pains up and down my arm. Blurred vision. Oh, that's right, it's Saturday. Righto, I'll just tough it out until Monday. I mean, Christ, there's enough sour people out here already. I mean, at least send someone out with a bit of sparkle in their eyes, you know? Maybe someone that can get a smile out of these cranky bastards. But let's not ask for the world just yet. We just need someone who can take blood without bruising your arm like a week-old banana. You know, I knew an old bloke that went down to the local clinic and got prescribed pear juice for his constipation. He's a fucking diabetic. I reckon for medical professionals applying for a rural placement, the selection process should be the same as when old Bobby used to hire backpackers for the pub. See, he'd flick through their photos and, well, let's just say in a starved, male-dominated environment, he'd pick someone who'd bring the clientele in. You know what I mean? You know, the kind of person who would make all the blokes roll into town every single night thinking that if they just kept buying beers, they were edging closer to a European holiday. But instead of choosing the one with Swedish blonde hair, in this instance, you'd choose the one with a fucking smile and a medical degree. I mean, that would be a major step up. And if they do happen to end up marrying Joe, the local grazier, and put a few more kids into the local school, well, that's just a bonus, isn't it? But Christ, there's hardly any rooting in the bush anyway. I mean, with all the money we're saving on STD testing, you'd think we'd have a bit better of a fucking show. Now, the RFDS is a wonderful service, but it's prone to change and it comes and goes. Whereas a matron of competence stationed in these clinics, well, they fill that gap and they can voice the issues that these local people have but can't vocalise. All I'm saying is, nursing in the bush shouldn't be treated as some well-paid retirement opportunity. You should be there because you care and for the experience. Nah, it's like most things. Big money, no service. And not only is it piss poor medical service in these little places, but the amount of times that you drive 6 hours to the city for a medical appointment and they cancel it on you as you roll into town. I mean, they have no concept that maybe a few people live a few hours away from the nearest McDonald's. But the bar is getting dropped everywhere, mate. I mean, I went away to the city the other day to get a Holter monitor fitted, and the pathologist, she asked me if I thought it was on. She had the workshop manual out and everything, mate. She didn't know what she was doing. I mean, I should have just saved myself the 5-hour drive and bought a Gregory's workshop manual on the human engine and just gave it a crack myself. Then she pulled the SD card out of it and blew it like a Nintendo cartridge. Now, if that's what's happening in the city, mate, then Christ, as my old mate bloke says, buy your lube in bulk and rub yourself up because life is gonna fuck you. At least old Dr. Patel out there in Bundaberg all those years ago, he pretended to give a fuck, you know, before he went to jail. But look, not everyone is a dragon. I mean, I know we have a shortage of handy people in this country, and I take my hat off to anyone who came out of retirement in the last few years to help their fellow man. But some people out here are just here to cash checks and bruise arms. But anyway, if it's all too much to ask, well, I reckon I've worked enough of my magic in this community to be considered the local gynecologist, so I'm happy to fill that gap. So book yourself an appointment with me and I'll grab me dolphin torch and I'll pop down for a look.
Team of kids all around you, listening as you spoke.